I am delighted to be joined by Kevin McCluskey and Jerry Taylor after Celtic demolished Dundee by 7-1. Well, Kev, will we be a bit negative and talk about the fact that it was one each in the second half? No, we won't. That was a tremendous performance, wasn't it?
You had me going for a second there, Paul. I was like, come on, mate, we've just won 7-1. There's no negativity in this show tonight. As a famous man once said, football, bloody hell. That was outrageous tonight. We've done these shows for the last 3 or 4 seasons, and we've never had a 7-1.
Nope.
It's that rare. It's a brilliant result. It doesn't matter the way drew the second half 1-1. There's still loads of positives that we'll take from that, especially young Danny Kelly and his goal. But overall, that was just a brilliant performance. I'm really happy I came on and did this tonight because I had a crap day at work, so that's cheered me up no end.
Well, Celtic does that to you. And by the way, it was tongue-in-cheek. Tongue-in-cheek about the second half. Jerry, that's what this club does to you. It absolutely affects your mood. I mean, we've been covering every single game since the fabled 10 in a row campaign that didn't quite go to plan in the COVID season. We've done the 2 Ange Postecoglou seasons following that. And of course, Brendan's return as a manager, 4th season. We've had some brilliant victories. I mean, we had a 9-0 against Dundee United. But tonight, it looked as though we were going to score 10 at one point, Jerry.
Yeah, is it wrong that I'm sad that we didn't and that I was absolutely gutted when we lost one at the end? But what I will say is you guys have had to put up with a lot of pain on match days, and look at me jumping on the bandwagon when we win 7-1, big glory hunter. Sorry, Kev, mate, I had to jump on after that. It was, do you know what?
It's fine. Paddy Lavey still giving you stick for us conceding that goal, so I'm happy. It's all your fault, mate.
The goal's my fault as well, is it? Right. I'll take that. If that's my fault, I'll take that every single week for a 7-1. It was just good to be back, boys, eh?
That's how it felt. That's how it felt, Jerry. I mean, I think we should probably go through the 7 goals. Some brilliant performances in there tonight as well. Man of the match, we'll start off with him. Yang gets man of the match. He seemed absolutely intent on just running at the defence, which is what we want. You know, that direct nature. Seems to have already got a bit of a relationship with AJ down that right-hand side. It was working really well. They overlap, they underlap, they're creating goals. It goes off with cramp because he's running himself into the ground, Kevin. We were talking about his performance when he came on against Motherwell. There are some players out there who become impact players, and you give them the chance from the start and they fail to impress. That wasn't the case tonight with Yang, was it?
No, but it was always a wee nagging doubt at the back of the mind that it might turn out that way, like at the start of the night when you see the team. But you try and be positive before the game as much as you can, so you don't let that thought creep in. And thankfully, it didn't creep into Yang either, because I thought he was tremendous tonight. If he wasn't man of the match, it would have been Iwata. It was one of the two of them. But every single time Yang got the ball, he was direct. He was running at his man. He was facing him up, taking him on. Like we said at half time, he's got Beck booked within the first 7 minutes of the game. And that's him won that battle. Within 10 minutes, the battle's won. And he had him on toast for the rest of the game. He could do whatever he wanted. I think Beck was actually lucky that he never got sent off later on in the game for a wee push in the back. Could have been a penalty. But yeah, I mean, Yang's a player that's, for me, he's got loads of ability. He needs to do it more often. He needs to have more nights like this. But there's a few moments when he's getting the ball and he's doing the wee trickery, a wee step over, cutting inside, and I didn't want my mind to go there, but I'm thinking, Jota. You know, he's the one player in the team that's got the testicular fortitude, to quote John, to take a man on and do a wee trick and try something. And I thought he was exceptional tonight.
It was, but any opportunity, Jerry, for me to bring up the fact that Kevin did once liken Haksabanovic to Berbatov. So when it comes to comparisons, Kev, you know, I'll never ever get over that, mate. I'll never get over that.
Jerry, take it in the context it was meant, and you'll understand.
But nobody takes it in the context. They just throw the name in, and before you know it, you start believing yourself that you actually compared them to Berbatov. Paddy Lavery, brilliant to see you again. Rogers looked delighted for young Kelly after he scored. He did. That was the 7th goal. Put us 7-0 up after 62 minutes, Jerry. And the the youngster, although he scores a goal, of course, which was brilliant, he just seemed really assured every time he got the ball. Like he wasn't a fish out of water. Sometimes with a young player, it takes a while to bed them in, but Kelly's obviously shown something. Rodgers seems impressed with the player. He's been on the bench even when Vata hasn't been. He's came on tonight, he scored a goal. Tremendous, because we've seen him making his debut in Europe this season, Champions League, and it looks as though, for me, Kelly's one for the future. But it's brilliant to see a player being introduced, because we're always banging on about the youth academy and we're not producing enough footballers, Jerry.
Yeah, and first off, it's like the belief that they've got in him to bring him on for a full half, just that speaks volumes. But the fact that this boy's got the mettle to go on and score after they've told him, you're playing a full half and you're coming on for the captain. You know what I mean? It's going to add extra pressure. And I just thought he was, like you said, he was so assured, and a fantastic finish. It was brilliant. I mean, at first I was a bit gutted that McGregor got taken off. I understand why, because I was in the kind of no mercy camp. I was like, nah, I want to get 10 goals, 12. Some folks saying they wanted 14. But it was great to see. It was great to see him getting a chance. Hopefully that'll be him getting a few more as the season goes on. I doubt he'll get as much, because I don't think we'll be winning every half 6-0. But he's given the manager a lot to think about. I loved his Brendan Rodgers' reaction when he turned to John Kennedy after he scored. And to me, I don't know if he was saying to John Kennedy, as if John Kennedy was telling him, see, I told you. And Rodgers was like, yeah. So I don't know if it was maybe a wee stroke for John Kennedy there, maybe convinced him to give him a half, but unreal. And as for Yang, he's shown glimpses over the season. He has been frustrating, but let's hopefully he's going to kick on now. He's coming on the last game there. He was great, and then outstanding today, absolutely outstanding. So yeah, what a night so far.
It's coming together.
Yeah,
but this is the thing with Yang, and this is why I'm reluctant to throw Kuhn into the scrap heap, because I know he's not been great. He's been far from it, right? But I remember performances by Yang quite early on, Kev, and we were looking at him going, is he Celtic standard? Is he Celtic class? And there's probably a few games after the games I've said, no, he's not. But it just takes players that wee bit of time to bed in. He's about 6 months into his Celtic career now, and he looked right up for it. He's got that confidence when he's got the ball now, the head's up, he's taking on his man, he's linking brilliantly with Alistair Johnston, he's getting the balls in. Fantastic performance, well done, and I think it was a much deserved man of the match performance. We've got Dominic Toy, 2 players for me tonight, Yang and Iwata, outstanding. I'll never tire of giving Iwata plaudits. I think that he's waited patiently for the breakthrough, and what he gave us tonight, Kev, was balance. He gave us balance, and it allowed the other 2 midfielders to be more offensive, which is proven by the fact that both of them scored a goal. And Iwata, he's just so composed. Everything's done at his pace. He's really, really good at breaking down attacks. He's got a brilliant strength. And, when it comes down to it, and when Hatate is fit, let's say there's maybe 1 or 2 games before Ibrox and Hatate's fit, could be a case of Iwata starting anyway, because it gives you a great balance in that midfield.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get Rio back before the Rangers game, then I'd be taking O'Reilly out for a wee bit to give him a rest. It's my way of bringing Hatate back in, because right now, if you're playing players on form, aye, Mike, shocking second half, absolutely, only the 1 goal. Now, if you're playing players on form, then Iwata's the man, and it's not just his form; it's the form that he gives to everyone else, because he's freeing up the 2 in front of him to become more offensive. But he provides that solid base as well, that he now allows Johnson to get forward with the confidence that he's got somebody sitting in behind. So it's one player, and he can influence positively the performances of 3 others, at least 3 others around him. And he probably just gives the whole team that wee bit extra confidence and boost to know that he's there, because he is, in the most positive way, a really deceptive player. At first glance, I don't think he looks the tallest, or he doesn't look the most physical, but he's 6 foot something, and you've pointed out before, he's got arms like tree trunks. I mean, he's a big, strong laddie, and he might not be the quickest, but he gets there. Like, his positional play is brilliant, so he's always in the right place at the right time, and it's everything about him. He's just he's another one that's just got it in him to be a right good player for us. And if now he's coming into form and into the team, and we're coming into the business end of the season, it's exactly when you want that to click.
Well, I think Iwata has been very patient. Yang has been patient. And then once they get their opportunity, they've just got to grab it. I think Ida came in, criticised. People were writing him off as a third choice Norwich striker. Comes in, starts to score the goals. We've been waiting on Carter Vickers coming back. He comes back tonight. Doesn't look 100%, I don't think, the way he was moving around the park. So the gaffer manages him really well, takes him off when he gets the opportunity, takes McGregor and Taylor off when he gets the opportunity. I agree with you. I think he needs to do the same with O'Reilly if we get the opportunity to do that as well, because he did look leggy in the first part of the game. Then he came into it and then he started orchestrating it a wee bit better as well. Keep the comments coming in. How are you feeling tonight after that? I said at half-time, Jerry, and I know you tune in even when you're not on it, I said to Kevin McCluskey, whatever happens tonight, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking Rangers will come back, maybe win this game. Whatever happens tonight, just remember how we felt at half-time and the fact that the whole thing can flip on its head in 45 minutes. We know that Rangers came back at Rugby Park, won the game. Whatever that does for their confidence, fine. But what we've seen at half-time is how this league can flip on its head in a 45-minute spell, Jerry. Yeah, we might have to go to Ibrox. We might have to beat them at Celtic Park as well to win this league. But they're not invincible. And I think at half-time, the smiles on Kevin McCluskey's and my face showed that this can happen, Jerry. And we just need to look after our own backyard. The goal difference is only one between Celtic and Rangers now. One goal. That's what tonight was all about as well, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's no taking their eye off the ball at all. This is going down to the wire. And you know what? Just as Jim said, I'm embracing it and I'm loving it. I'm not keeping an eye on their score. I think when we started to keep an eye on it, that's when it started to go their way. So we concentrate on our own football right now. It was almost, it's a bit of a relief, isn't it, the night, lads, as well. And see on the whole Timokey stuff, do you think Brendan Rodgers is cutting about the dressing room now, saying that he turned Iwata into wine?
Aye,
probably. Sorry, I've been building. Kev, that one was for you, mate. I've been storing it up.
Superb.
I've been storing it up.
Absolutely beautiful.
Wait, there's Ewan Cameron messaging me. He sent me an emoji with a because he's been winding me up saying we've got no chance, and I told him that was a turning point. So there you go, live. Ewan Cameron's just sent me a wee emoji. He knows
anyone in the comments doesn't know, Ewan is a Jambo, so that's obviously why he is texting Jerry. But yeah, Iwata into wine or Vata into wine, one or the other. Let's hope we get a couple of bottles of wine. Blame it on the bucky, Jerry. Blame it on the bucky.
Blame it on the bucky. Nice, mate. Nice.
Did you like that? There we go. Paul Leinster, a.k.a. Ronnie Glavin. AJ back to his best. I want to talk about Alistair Johnston because when you look at the last 4 transfer windows, and obviously the January one being the most recent, and there was a lot of disappointment around it, Kev. We always gone about the players who have been purchased within those windows who have been a success, and Alistair Johnston is an obvious one. Aaron Moy came in during that period, and of course Ida has shown signs that he could also be a successful signing within that period. But Johnston went off the boil a bit, and he was being criticised a fair bit this season, not having his best of seasons, but it's been a bit stop-start for him. A couple of head injuries. Obviously had to wear the Batman mask at the weekend. But I agree with the comment in that was AJ back to his best tonight, Kev.
Yeah, that performance tonight definitely was him back to his best. I think last season he came in and he was just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was a throwback to a 1980s fullback, somebody that was just like that Roy Aitken type of a kind of all blood and thunder, going into tackles, winning everything, and he connected straight away with the fans, and we got him, and his performance level was so high that it was probably going to be unsustainable coming into this season anyway. So you notice the drop off when it's there, and then everyone around him dropped off. So he never had that support of a solid player next to him, or even a settled centre half pairing next to him to guide him through games. So there's a lot of factors that could have contributed to him not hitting the highs, but slowly but surely you can see he is getting back to the old Alistair Johnson, and a performance tonight like that suggests that he is back. And maybe as well, you give some of the credit to Yang because he helped him out immensely. Again, Yang does a wee bit of defensive work that maybe others don't on the right-hand side, and he offers so much going forward that when he cuts infield, Johnson knows he's got the channel outside to go on, and vice versa. If Yang wants to stay wide, he knows his route is through in the inside channel. So I think the two of them actually linked up really well, and that benefits both the players.
Definitely, and it's good to see that understanding. You know, we've seen it down the years. You mentioned great 80s right backs. Danny McGrain had a brilliant understanding with Dalglish. Jackie Mack had a brilliant understanding with Simon Donnelly. It just flows, you know, when they've got that almost telepathic relationship down one wing. And it works, it just works. And I think AJ and Yang, you know, they've not played a great deal of football together. It just seems to work really, really well. Overlap, underlap, and Paul Byrne. Is it our pal, Paul Byrne? Jerry, your old teammate? Johnson, by the way, outstanding. It might be. We'll be seeing Paul on Friday. Yeah.
Oh, looking forward to seeing you, big man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, keep the comments coming in because I think we have, obviously, here we go. This is it. Mark, good or bad, you guys are always here. Thank you, Acsom. Absolutely. I mean, we've been disappointed. We've been elated. We've won trophies. We've lost leagues since we've been doing these match day streams. And let's be honest, it's a much better night when it's a result like that and a performance like that. There's a few people in the comments saying Celtic were awful tonight. I don't know if you're trying to wind us up. Celtic fans as well. Jamie, great game from O'Reilly again, which was good to see. Jerry, Matt O'Reilly's been getting a fair bit of stick. I've been standing up for him, saying that, you know what, if you look at the minutes, he's played virtually every one of them. I think Scales is the same. Since Scales came into the team, he's played every minute of football available. That must catch up with you, but we're just not in a position where we can, you know, rest a player from the start 11 anyway. We did it tonight with Taylor. We did it tonight with Carter Vickers and with McGregor. There needs to come a point where we do it with the likes of Scale and O'Reilly as well. I thought O'Reilly was brilliant again tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, it must have been killing you. Your boy's been getting so much stick. We all know that how much you love Matty boy. But I'll tell you what, don't be resting him now. That's him hitting form. Don't dare rest him. Give Scales a rest if you want. But I think Scales at times is looking a bit tired. He is looking a bit. I wouldn't say he's been playing poorly, but there's been a few more mistakes kind of creeping into his game. I don't know if it's down to tiredness or knowing that he's looking at the bench when the Rocky was getting a start and Carter Vickers back. Who knows? But come on, the boy's been outstanding, hasn't he? Considering the fact that most of us, probably all of us, wanted him out the door pre-season.
Yeah.
And he's turned out to be one of our players of the year. So great for the boy this season. But for Matt O'Reilly, just to see him smiling again, do you see the smile on his face? We've not seen it in a while. I
freeze framed it. You know I do that. Liam Scales is so good he'd get a game for Kilmarnock, I would say. Big Dom says Kilmarnock were denied a clear penalty tonight. Listen, the thing is, right, there's people coming in here saying, don't mind, here we go, don't mind about them, never mind them, just focus on our own performances. Alistair, if Kilmarnock equalised in the 90th minute, I'm pretty sure you'd be looking at them as well. It's a title fight, that's what it's all about. Embrace it, as Jim Moore says. Get a tight fit for the April derby. I mean, that level of quality that he brings to the team, even if we can get him a few games before the April derby and he's sitting on the bench, you know, and just having the option on the bench of bringing him in would be brilliant. I think it would be fantastic. Philip McCabe, Iwata was always a good player. You don't get most valuable player in Japan and not be a good player. Great point, Philip. And Liam Carrigan will tell us, you know, of all the 6 players we've brought in, he is the only one of the 6 Japanese imports that has won the MVP in Japan. So he definitely always had it. It was just a case of timing and then finding a space for him in the team, I think. Jerry Coyle will play like that until the end of the season. Now, I'll tell you, if we do, we win the league. Simple as that. If we play like that until the end of the season, we win the league. The Kurgan, been waiting all season for that performance, a much needed win. Even the fact that Kilmarnock were winning at half-time, Kevin, and they didn't win the game, hasn't taken the spring out of step tonight. This is all about Celtic tonight, isn't it?
Exactly. And it's always all about Celtic, let's be honest. You know, we'll keep one eye on the result in the other game because it's important in the destiny of the league title. But the other weekends, I don't know who they're playing because I've got no interest in them in that way. I'm only here to talk about Celtic. I'm only interested in what we do. That they've come back to win that game doesn't take the shine off a 7-1 victory, doesn't take the shine off a 6-goal first half, doesn't take the shine off Daniel Kelly coming on and scoring a wonder goal for his first goal and only his second game for the club. Nothing that they do takes the shine off that. The one disappointment from tonight was that we lost a goal and we didn't get the clean sheet. Other than that, you would put this down as being a pretty perfect night. And yeah, we're in a title race now. Let's embrace it. Let's enjoy it. And if we keep on playing like this, it'll not be a title race for that long, because these kind of performances could see us get back on top pretty quickly.
Yeah, it would have been nice to be sitting on top tonight. There's a few bookmarked tweets that I would like to go and remind people of, Jerry. Paul Boyle, no Brendan must go tonight. I know, they're quiet this evening, aren't they? The Brendan must go brigade. Stevie Fulton, are you the Stevie Fulton who came from Greenock and played for Celtic? The difference was it Stevie Baggio, I think he was called. The difference was the tempo. Right. Looked hungry again. Hail, hail. Yeah, we did from straight off the bat. And by the way, let's not forget, they had a go at us for the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then we Hart had a save. Then we kind of stabilised it a bit, and then it was all about our tempo after that. Pete, please, Scales has not been outstanding, says Pete. Lost us points at Kelly and various other games. He's a good lad, but should not be first choice. Well, as we sit here just now, he is. Who's going to take his jersey? I wouldn't replace him with Scales, Welsh rather. Nawrocki's injured. What's your other options, Jerry? I mean, he is a first choice.
Maybe name me a player that's been more consistent than Scales this season.
35 games, I think, on the bounce. Now, I just think that we're at a stage with William Scales, and we're probably at the same stage with Tony Ralston for a long time, where he's never going to win everybody over. I think the big argument is you're never going to progress in Europe because it's Liam Scales. I don't know. I mean, all season he's kept out Lagerbielke and Nawrocki, £7.5 million worth of centre halves. November, December time, Anderlecht were interested in him. I think the conversation is ongoing regarding a new contract with Scales. I don't know if he'll ever win everybody over, but right now he is a first choice. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's nobody else, Kevin, who would get a game in front of him, is there? In Celtic now?
No, there's not. And I'd even forgotten about Lagerbielke. He's that far out the picture. He's not going to replace him. Stevie Welsh wouldn't get in ahead of him. I probably wouldn't put Nawrocki in ahead of him either. So no, he's there on merit. Like Jerry said at the start, every single one of us would have happily sold him in the summer. Would have all driven him to whatever club he was going to sign for $500,000 and would have been done with him. And now he's played his way into being a mainstay in the team. Is he the answer long term? Maybe not, but he's been the answer so far this season. I don't think he's really let us down that much. You could point blame at him for a couple of goals we've lost, but you could point blame at Greg Taylor, Alistair Johnson almost fell into that one again. Joe Hart, Cameron Carter-Vickers. You could point blame at any of the back four for goals we've lost this season. Scales has been pretty solid throughout that, and the fact that he's not missed a minute since he came into the team proves how reliable he has been this term. Your point, will we progress in Europe with him? Who knows? But who thought we'd get to the last 16 of the Champions League with Gary Caldwell and Stephen McManus? Is your back to it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, he got a man of the match in the Champions League. I just think sometimes you make your mind up and then it's very difficult to change that, even when the evidence in front of you goes against your belief of that particular individual. And it happens in life. I'm not having a go at the guy making the comment. Respect big scale, says Joe Hamilton. Well, Joe, you said it, so I'm going to do it. Noel Doran, some great attacking play and intent, but the player I'm impressed with most tonight is Alwata. His positioning, reading of the game, the anticipation is brilliant. General all-round play has been outstanding again tonight. I think I'm struggling to think of a bad game that he's had for Celtic, even when he's been out of position. Tony Daverin, we met Tony at one of the events up at Don Max last year. So great that you're tuning in. I hope everything's okay, Tony. What's it going to take to get Kyogo firing on all engines again? You know what it is? I'm now at the stage where we all know how phenomenal Kyogo is, right? We know he's not in a 25 to 30 goal a season. He's not going to achieve that this season. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm just at the stage now, Jerry, where I don't think we're ever going to get them firing on all cylinders. We're going to have moments this season that we look back on, and hopefully there's a few between now and the end of the season, and we say, oh, Kyogo, the 2 goals against Rangers, the goals in the Champions League, and we'll look back on these moments, and he'll have contributed, hopefully, to a successful season. But I think there comes a point where you're saying, right, if he's no firing, Ida plays ahead of him, and we just need to kind of get over that a wee bit, even though he's a fan's favourite, Jerry, even though he is so talismanic, he's so influential, he's been brilliant for 2.5 seasons. If we can't tap into it, let's not waste our time trying to tap into it. Let's play like we did tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, we all know Kyogo's a quality player. And for me, for all the big goals and for how he's played the past few seasons, he's always going to have plenty of money in the bank for me when it comes to maybe not having the best of form or just not maybe fitting into the way they've been playing. You just showed the amount of balls going into the box. Kyogo's never going to get in the end of them the way that he does. He can't. He's not got the height. He's not got the muscle. But he's still going to be huge for us in certain games. I mean, who would ever grumble if Brendan Rodgers starts him at Ibrox? Look what he does. He's a big game player, so I think we've still got a lot more to see from him this season if given the opportunity. But like you're saying, I wouldn't be sad to see Ida start from now on in, which doesn't mean that I'm not grateful and thankful for everything that Kyogo's been doing for us, but Ida's done everything to stake his claim now, and I think it's his spot to lose until the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that going into these games are coming thick and fast now, Jerry. Whoever's on form, you play them. It's all about momentum. I know it sounds cliched at this stage, talking cliches. We've got John Collins in the passing, the movement, the tempo. Another guy that obviously, Jerry, you know quite well, John Collins, coming in under a pseudonym. A lot of folk do that on this show. Simon Fedeni scraped me off the ceiling after that first half. It was phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant. Patrick Harrell's wondering if you keep looking at your corner of your eye for that big ass spider. Jerry. Is it a big spider?
So if anyone doesn't know, my Mrs. Megan's got what kind of spider is it? Some mad.
Fancies an OBT.
An OBT or something. It's crazy, and she keeps threatening to put it on my face when I'm sleeping. But no, I keep looking at the corner of my eye because Megan's actually there, and she's having to stay all quiet while I do this on my phone tonight because I'm not at the studio.
You were just buzzing. You wanted to join us, Jerry. You wanted to join us after a brilliant performance, and quite rightly so. AGSC Tech, aka Chris Morris. The stench of a wee momentum shift back to us. I think our starting 11 picks itself for Hearts. That's a great feeling. I'm going to ask you guys about that going into a historically tough game. Kevin McCluskey, how do we play it? Do you start with the 11 that went out there tonight? I know it's a different game. It's away from home, different kind of shape, the opposition. But who are you going to drop from that starting 11? I don't think anybody deserves to be dropped.
No, I think you've got to go with that team that started tonight. Like, the whole point that we've been making is you pick the team based on form, players in form play. Well, your team's just won 7-1 tonight, so I would say it's a safe bet that 11 of those starters are all on form at the moment. So go with it. Unless anyone's injured, you go with that team. You try and build the momentum that this team, or build on the momentum that this team has got from today, and you take it there. It's going to be a difficult venue. Tynecastle always is, but we go there full of confidence after this tonight. Keep that team, keep the momentum, keep doing what we're doing. We maybe not win 7-1, but we'll take 2 or 3 instead. I'll be happy enough with that.
I win at Tynecastle. I'd be happy, 2-1, to be honest with you. Joe Fulham, he'll smash the net in Tynecastle. He's a type of player, you think, Jerry, that would be suited to a game like that, where sometimes you do need that imposing centre forward to really just grab the game by the scruff of the neck. It's a toxic atmosphere at Tynecastle at the best of times. The stands are very, very tight in on the pitch. Big test for the likes of Yang, for example, who we've seen spooked previously at Fir Park, and Ida. But I think these guys, Ida's just kind of taken into it like a duck to water. Yang is taking a wee while to get to that point. They're up for this kind of challenge, Jerry.
Aye, and that's what I love to see. See when Ida bounced back to his feet and nearly suplexed that Dundee player at the ground. honestly, like, I'm not condoning any kind of violence, but what we have been missing is a bit of that grit. Somebody not fear to get and stick up for their team, even though he's sticking up for himself right enough. But you can picture he's not going to take any nonsense. He likes to outmuscle. We have missed that. We have missed it for all the magic and grace of Kyogo. Sometimes I need us just needed into it, especially for this part of the season. But like you said, a bit of a duck to water. Well, none of us been getting carried away about we should sign him, because we're just giving him that time. Like, we get carried away, maybe, no disrespect, with Bernardo when he had a purple patch. But what I'm seeing at Ida is he can handle pressure. When these penalties, the big game finishes in the last minute, just a couple of great headers as well. I'm excited about him. So, the only way is up now. Eh?
No, I think you're right about Ida. It's one of the ones where he seems to have a wee point to prove. I don't know what kind of price tag would be on his head, but we're throwing £3 million at Kuhn and 4.3 at Nawrocki, 3 million at Lagerbielke. You know, £3-4 million for a guy like Ida for me is a no-brainer. Stephen Walker, green shoots, it definitely is. And we've also got Johnny, tiny hands, play Kyogo on the wing. We've suggested that. I think it'd be nice to see it at some point, Johnny. Take him out the firing line, get him involved in the play. He's a creative player. He's a very quick thinking player. I think he could, join the play up a bit. So I would like to see that at some point. Listen, it's been fantastic tonight. 1,500 strong on the post-match. Great to see Jerry jumping on with Kevin and I. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the notifications bell. And if you want to come and see us live with Paddy McCourt or Martin O'Neill, all the ticket links are underneath, just where we're in high spirits as well. All that's left for me to say, Kevin McCluskey, Jerry Taylor, thank you for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.
Nice one.